Pleas demanding justice for Sushant Singh Rajput reverberated across the country, and finally the top court, Supreme Court, decided that it wanted to hand over the case to the CBI to investigate. Now the CBI has initiated fresh probe into Sushant Singh's death. They're probing into angle of abatement to suicide, with Rhea Chakraborty being the prime accused. While the CBI now initiates investigations, let's take a quick dive into CBI's past suicide abatement cases. While the overall conviction rate of the CBI is about 65 to 70%, which matches up to the best of the investigative agencies across the globe, when it comes to cases of abatement to suicide, the Central Bureau of Investigative Agency, the CBI there, has investigated into a handful of suicide abatement cases, but not even with a single case have they been able to come to a conclusion or a conviction. In fact, they've not been able to prove that the suspect drove the deceased to suicide. Now let's take the Jiah Khan's case. The CBI has been probing the case for years now, but there's been no conclusion. In fact, Sushant Pancholi is the main accused. He stands charged of abetting Jiah Khan's suicide. The CBI filed a charge sheet in the case, but nothing much has moved in the trial since 2017. In fact, Jiah Khan's mother, Rabia Khan, believes that her daughter was murdered. She accuses the police of botching up the initial probe under what she calls was pressure from some of the top Bollywood celebrities. Jiah Khan's mother spoke to India Today, and she claimed to have found some stark similarities between Jiah Khan and Sushant Singh Rajput's death. She says in both cases, their partners drove them to suicide. Their partners first promised them marriage, then took their money, forced them to stay away from their family members, and then eventually, when they felt that they were losing grip on them, they decided to get rid of them. Rabia Khan also went on to slam the police, saying that they didn't do their job effectively because they were under immense pressure from some biggies within the Bollywood film industry and even politicians there who were trying to influence the case. These are her claims. She also says that the police eventually took the nepotism angle and probed into it because that suited them. But on the other hand, Sushant Pancholi has denied all these allegations. He's rubbished it. In fact, speaking to India Today, Sushant Pancholi said that he's been in court since the age of 21. In fact, now he's 29 years of age. He says that for 8 years, he's been fighting this battle in court legally. He also claims that he's won 2 defamation cases against Rabia Khan, but she's sitting in London giving interviews. Sushant Pancholi says that he, in turn, is being harassed. Now, why is the CBI's record so dismal? India Today spoke to one of the investigative officers who've investigated cases of abatement to suicide in the past, and he says it's very difficult to prove the intention of the accused in the case. According to the officer, he says in any case under section 306 of the IPC, which is abatement to suicide, the accused intention is more important than what the deceased felt. Now, proving the intention of the accused is extremely difficult in a condition where the other person is not alive to corroborate what the accused is really saying. He says in any such case, conviction can be achieved by the probe agency there only if they are able to prove that the deceased committed suicide due to direct encouragement or incitement from the accused, and that the departed soul there was left with no other choice. He also says that mental health plays a very important role in this case. He says that if the mental health of the deceased was not right at the time of his death, then the case is more or less in favor of the accused. Now, the only time when the CBI went close enough to secure conviction was in the Ruchika Girhotra suicide case. On August 12, 1990, the then 14-year-old budding tennis player Girhotra was allegedly molested by the then Inspector General of the Haryana Police, SPS Rathore, in his office. In fact, Ruchika filed a complaint, and later her entire family was allegedly harassed by the state police. And then on December 28, 1993, she allegedly committed suicide, and in 98, the court decided and ordered for a CBI inquiry. The CBI then filed a charge sheet, and in 2010, an FIR, a fresh FIR, was also filed accusing Rathore of abatement to suicide. However, in 2016, the court convicted Rathore of molesting the victim but not abating her to suicide.